This episode of Cinema Swirl is brought to you with the support of our backers over at patreon.com/Cinema Swirl. $5 OTP backers get instant access to every episode of our monthly exclusive bonus show, Cinema Swirl, where Kevin and I review bad movies. And this month, in fact, right now, because the theme of this episode is a long movie, we've reviewed The Godfather, Part 3. What happened? If you want to find out, head on over to patreon.com/Cinema Swirl. There's 73 or something more episodes of Cinema Swirl. There's a whole back catalogue. If that sounds fun, patreon.com/Cinema Swirl. Right, let's get swirling.
Cinema Swirl! You're done, Bertie. It's episode number 130. Making reference, of course, to disgraced former Irish Taoiseach brackets Prime Minister for you Brits.
Is that how you pronounce it? I've never...
Oh, really? What? Have a go. What do you reckon it was?
You just told me.
Was it Taoiseach or something? Was that what it was?
It looks like a search engine.
Coming to you from the tribunal of Hollywood, California, going through all the embattled leaders of small island nations,
yes.
Brackets movies that Sam's not seen. And today we're continuing our bumper special, starting over on Cinema Swirl with the bumper Godfather 3, and here we are on Cinema Swirl with an even more bumper to bumper, eyes wide, bumper shut.
Yeah, see, I'm doing it. Am I doing it? My eyes are... I've got my eyes shut. I don't know if they're wide. Are they wide shut?
Well,
I can't see how I look.
He obviously knows what the movie's about, so I know what I'm here for. So.
I'm going to be recording the first video podcast ever with my eyes wide shut the entire... That was horrible. I hated that. Hated every second of that. No.
You don't like seeing all that mind spaghetti that's behind the lids. That's not
Try
good.
closing your eyes for a bit while you talk to me. Hi, Kevin. So, the film we're going to be...
I'm listening to my favourite podcast. I feel susceptible to advertising right now. Have you got a Patreon or something like that? That's fucking wild, man.
Hello. Yes. Eyes wide shut. We're doing.
Special for very many reasons. A special choice, this one. Number one, it is fighting back against all the imagined criticism of High School Musical is not a real movie. Girls Rules American Pie is not a real movie. These are all very short. And in good Catholic guilt form, we're doing extra long movies now as some sort of a self-punishment.
Can I just say, none of that actual criticism manifested. No,
I know. It was imagined, as I said, it was imagined criticism. Like.
We were worried about that, and then everyone's
I'm
happy.
my own imagined harshest critic, Sam, but I never get round to it.
No. You imagine harshly criticising yourself.
I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I've got washing to put on. Good Lord. So... it's a special as well for another reason. It's Sam's favourite director. We did a power rankings late last year and determined quite much early doors that the S rank stands for Stanley Kubrick rank.
Yes, I'm a big fan of Kubrick from what I've watched so far. And there's something very, very intriguing about his final film.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Do you reckon he died making it?
We did, didn't he?
Or did it? Do you reckon it like the aftermath of it killed him, or was it during, or
it was in the edit, wasn't it? Or was
in the premiere? How do you reckon it took him?
It was post-production, I think.
Well, you'll have to watch the movie to find out, Sam. Unfortunately, my mouth is widely shut in that respect. Before we get into the details, what about the movie do you know? Give me some stars. Give me some plots.
Okay. Oh, it's such a weird, fucking intriguing film to me. Okay. Stars.
It is to me, and I've fucking seen it 3 times. All right, so that'll get you rightly excited.
Okay, I'm excited. Stars, Kevin. You're a jerk. You're a real jerk. Mr. Two Curries himself, Tom Cruise, is in this.
Yes, too fast, too curious about 2 curries. It's Tom Cruise back in the saddle, and for I think the first time ever in a non-Mission Impossible role.
Capacity.
Excellent.
Nicole Kidman while she was going out with Tom Cruise. So
You kidding me?
I think we've all seen the picture of Nicole Kidman after separating from Tom Cruise, where she looks so relieved and happy.
Now, I couldn't tell you from looking at that photo, Sam, if there's a spring in her step or a lightness to her gait. Either way, she's a happy woman.
Yeah.
She's going to have curry for the first time in her life. Every time she tried to have one, that fucking prick would scoff the lot on her, you know? So you'd have to get divorced. Like, you tell me I'm 36 and I'm about to have tikka masala for the first time in my life? Yeah, I'm skipping to the curry house.
Maybe Tom, his whole life has been like ordering a curry, and then his partner orders a curry, and he secretly thought, I want both curries. And then now he's, finally able to eat. So they're in this, and it's interesting that Stanley Kubrick, we're on first name terms, cast
Yes, this is Stanley the Kubrick, not to be mistook with Stanley the dog.
He's not a casting. He's not a director nor a casting director. Stanley Kubrick cast a pre-existing, and at the time, young, sexy, cool Hollywood couple in this film. That's interesting to me.
Is that not what you would expect?
Well, I don't know. It's an interesting piece of casting, I think.
Is this against type? But again, you don't really know what the movie is yet. So as we've not yet discussed, but what about it is strange, other than I guess their A-list status.
I guess there's probably a thing where, because of the big gaps between Kubrick films, these two seem a bit too contemporary to be in a Kubrick film. But this was 1999, so
that's like if you're ordering two curries and they're both tikka masalas. It's like, are you sure? It's a very, very broad mainstream choice.
Yeah, maybe a bit mainstream. I don't know, but there's something odd about it. There's obviously a few things odd about Tom Cruise that we've talked about previously.
There's a whole world beyond curries that is just fascinating.
Yeah, once you get past the curries section on his Wikipedia page, there's more. There's more to dig
There's
into.
Loads more,
Yeah.
And that's even before we get into the fact that, no news outlet can talk about him without mentioning that he's little as well. That's another fascinating aspect of the man.
And how's Stanley Kubrick going to deal with that height differential? I know. Okay, do you want more that I know about this film?
What do you know? You've not given me any plot yet. You got people, not plot. What's Eyes Wide Shut? What are we talking about here? What's our go-to?
I'm going to say something to you. It's either, and these are different things, a sexy movie or a sex movie. I've done the
Oh no! You've unleashed the sex balloons
on the video, because I've done. I've counted to 2, but I've done the peace sign. It keeps releasing balloons on my webcam. I'm not celebrating sex by going groovy baby and then balloons fly up.
They've reduced that functionality.
Kevin's trying to do the devil horn.
It's done.
To make something happen. It's gone.
It's done. It's gone.
But it's like, I think it's weird. It's like sex with the the masks.
Yeah, I almost let that go away there. What's the difference between a sexy movie and a sex movie? You're implying the existence of a sexy sex movie then, and if so, where can I find it?
Could there be a sexless sex movie? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it's. I know there's masks. I know there's anonymizing sex masks.
Okay.
Not just in general in this film. I'm not saying I'm aware of the anonymizing.
That's a thing you can
masks.
do,
They're part of it, and I know that implies sex parties.
Okay.
And gatherings, groups. Kevin already seems to be delighting in me trying to talk about anything sexual without feeling weird. I know there's going to be, some hanky-panky in some respects, surely, but I don't know how that's going to manifest itself. I just know it's sex-based.
Are you seeing Tom Cruise having sex in this movie?
Yeah. I think that's why he's cast with Nicole Kidman. I think Kubrick is after some convincing sexual chemistry.
Okay.
The history books might tell us that, maybe this was a bad choice in retrospect, but he probably didn't know that. And maybe they've got a real spark at this point in time.
Maybe they broke up because it was too damn hot, baby, and they were going to burn the fucking forest down, and LA has enough wildfires to deal with.
Well, there you go. So I know there's a sex aspect, but beyond just being like, there is sex and masks and sex
you mentioned
parties.
like kind of something of a process. Are we like talking about is it a drama? Like is it a romance? Is it going to be like I don't know, is it going to be a weird movie? Like 2001 was a weird movie? Or is it going to be, as you said, a little bit more of the conventional route?
I don't think it's a sex comedy.
No, we've had that, like.
Yes.
Stanley Kubrick presents American Pie presents Girls' Rules.
Yeah.
Here are my rules: 0 curries. How about that?
Whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I feel like Kubrick stuff is often based on something. I don't know if there's
it's like a pre-existing, like a book or something like that.
Yeah, well, like, The Shine. I think he's adapted a lot of books in his time. I don't know the source material of Eyes Wide Shut, if there is any such thing.
So you reckon Tom and Nicole are going to be together in some way in the movie?
Yeah.
Is Tom going to be the hero of the piece? The villain of the piece? A background figure of sorts? Or is he where do you reckon he's fallen in here? Are we on the Tom Cruise show? What's going on?
I think he's the main guy, but the thing I like about Kubrick is that the idea of a conventional hero and villain and central character and whatever the fuck that means might be a bit blurred and weird and strange.
I'm sorry, Sam, we have to get you off the air because if the MCU guys hear this, they're gonna fucking freak out, man. That's fucking crazy talk that you got going on.
So I'm not sure. Well, I know some of what to expect. I know that it'll be sexual in nature.
God, the tag team of Sam being excited about a movie, but like slightly off put by the fact that he has to talk about sex on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's going to make for a potent brew of an episode.
I need to clean up that I'm not just excited about it because there's sex in it. I'm not just like, finally an opportunity to look at some sex.
He pretended to like all these Kubrick movies, all that shite basically. So he could work up to this, I see what he's doing here. I see it.
You know what? I don't think it's sexy because I don't think anyone's like getting their parents' copy of Eyes Wide Shut and sneaking it out and watching it. I don't think it's one of them. So I don't feel like it's. But there's a real.
You don't think it's like salacious? Like you weren't hearing about boys in school being like, "We stayed up last night and sure Eyes Wide Shut was on," and
No,
I put it on me. It's not one that I heard boys like bragging about masturbating to on boarding school or anything like that.
No.
Tell me more.
No, there was none of that. So I think the combination of movie stars that I know and in one case think of really funny being in this is fascinating. It being Kubrick's final film that he died in post-production of, I think there's some controversy about whether the final cut had been made or not.
He's actually dead or not.
They hired, out there, man. They actually hired Stanley Kubrick to fake the Stanley Kubrick funeral.
Whoa!
Yeah, but
he's up there on the moon. Laughing at you now. That's where he is. Making all movies that you're not even allowed to see, even if you have Criterion Collection.
There's something so interesting about someone's final work, right? I feel like that's, or to me anyway, that's kind of like a fascinating
But
thing.
you as a music fan, that's obviously your thing, isn't it, though? Because they're always dying, aren't they? Like
musicians, always dying. Yeah. So there's that. And then there's it's another Kubrick film that I haven't seen. Oh, John Ronson did a documentary about Kubrick's boxes, and I know that had a lot to do with Eyes Wide Shut.
So I noticed that even though it is our bumper edition, the length of it doesn't seem to be anything that's worrying you or weighing on you. Because is it you're excited that there's a lot of this movie that you're intrigued by?
In my experience, Kubrick has justified his long movies, and I feel like he has used. Because this is a sexual movie, I keep saying things like "use length well," and it sounds naughty. But like,
Jesus Christ!
I'm sorry, I'm giddy because we're doing a sex movie. Also, if this is like not what I'm talking about, and I'm sounding so excited about it, I'm quite scared. But
No, it is actually a raunchy teen comedy again. It is, yeah.
I don't feel the same dread I feel about long movies when it's a Kubrick movie because, in my experience, they've been good.
I will say, I think you're going to enjoy it more than you enjoyed Godfather 3 this month.
Okay, good.
I'll say that. I think you are aptly prepared, as one could be, but I think you're going to have your fucking mind blown. The only question for me, I reckon, is how much you're going to love it. If it's going to be your new favourite movie, or if it's going to be kind of in some sort of a contention.
Okay, two things I need to talk about, I guess, just quickly about the film. One, I don't think it's like most people's favourite Kubrick film. I think
that's fair to say, yeah.
I don't think it's like number one on the list of like best Kubrick films in anyone's list. So that's interesting. Number two, should I ask you what you think about this afterwards, maybe? Or...
I'll tell you up front what I think of it. I mean, this is also for me. I think I think it is the last Kubrick movie that I saw.
Right.
I don't mind telling you right now because I don't think it's much of a spoiler that I fucking love this movie.
Okay.
I think it's great.
Good.
I think it's probably not a lot of people's favorites because I think it's one of them movies that just a little bit, that because of the casting, that then the discussion of that is split between gossip columns and actual movie reviews.
Yeah.
There is that kind of like I don't like fucking Tom Cruise, I don't like fucking Nicole Kidman, I don't like Tom Cruise and fucking Nicole Kidman. And I think that, like, at the time is like, just has kind of permanently reduced the foundation of love of which we all build our fandoms or whatever. But I think, honestly, as someone who didn't have much in the way of expectations of any of Kubrick's movies before I ever saw them, this was like it's good weird. And I think for me, what I love most about it, and I think you like most about it, is the fact that it's contemporary, of seeing something that feels so modern and new comparatively, but it's still very much him.
Newbrick.
It's
Stanley Newbrick.
Them Lego never got off the ground with them new bricks that they made. They want classic. They want the old formula back. These new bricks taste horrible, Lego. Yuck.
I'm excited.
But yeah, you should be excited. You're going to have a very good time. I think the question is just how good a time you may have. I will anticipate Stanley's dander will get up.
Okay. Oh, what? Oh.
Because there's evidence out there suggests that dogs don't like fucking masks, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
So
And some of these
you know?
kinky masks are like animal masks and shit. So maybe
this is mostly based on the science behind Courage the Cowardly Dog, I'll have you know. But I just think that generally speaking, although that would be really funny if someone went to an orgy with the big scary mask from Courage. I believe we've got a bag full of mail, and we should read some of it in the mail bag.
Yes. Hey, welcome to the mailbag. As ever, if you've got questions, queries, comments, other bits and bobs, send them in to cinemaswirl@gmail.com.
Hey, do you want to pretend that it's a YouTube video from 2013? Just click here or here.
Links in the doobly-doo, guys. I feel sick.
Jamie Oliver, you look like a fool gesticulating towards nothing. Nothing.
Press click to subscribe. These questions come in from patreon.com/cinemaswirl.
Where we've just done, how many episodes of Cinema Swirl is it now? 70 fucking something?
73
episodes about movies with bad reputations.
Yeah.
Not all of them are actually bad. How about that?
Yes, and free members on the Patreon can join some of these chats, some of these calls for questions. It's worth signing up for free anyway. So thank you for the contributions on the Patreon. First question comes in from Scott, who writes the following. Have you lads ever considered a cinema swish, where one of the dynamic duo loves the film and the other loathes it? I like that Scott has come up with a name for this.
Great.
Cinema swish.
Oh, God, that's too good. I do like that. Interestingly, though, I think we have had an inaugural episode of that already, which is
we
when
had
we
cinema.
we had cinema,
Yeah.
and we also had the King Arthur Guy Ritchie movie, which Sam loved, and I basically was my treatise about why I hate everything. Although that is an idea is interesting because I think there are some movies from the rich canon of things Sam would have seen back when he was a teenager when he did in fact watch some movies I don't care that much for. I'm always good to have a go at Wes Anderson if you feel like defending him loads.
I'm up for more cinema where we watch stuff that we've both seen or you have
defies logic and you just want to
watch it. In answer to Scott's question, I do like when that organically happens and we find out
that is true.
One of us loves it, one of us fucking hates it. That's some of those are my favourite episodes where there's that.
And I feel perhaps the podcast format of having it like you already know what we think is in the kind of it's baked into it might make a lot of people kind of go, oh okay, and like just flick it through. So I would worry about the retention rate on that type of a podcast.
But I do like the opposing views. I do enjoy that. So thank you, Scott, for that question.
Yes.
Next question from Joe, who writes the following. TCM, the #1 classic movies channel in the States.
Yes. That's where I used to watch bits of WCW back in the day.
WCW, a classic movie.
Oh, that awful time when if you had satellite telly as a child in Ireland, and it'd be like 7 p.m. or whatever it was on a Friday, and Cartoon Network would turn into TCM. You'd be like, no! I was watching fun things. Now I'm watching old shit.
So, TCM, the #1 classic movies channel in the States, offers a service called the TCM Wine Club, where you are sent a box of various wines, each paired with a classic movie.
Wow. Now, I would counter you that I already have such a thing, which is my corner shop has a selection of wines, and I have a selection of movies.
DVDs.
And they all go. It's wild. Like, they keep getting new wines in, and they keep working with all the DVDs that we have. Wild, that.
At Joe's question, if you boys had to set up a similar service where you pair the films you watch with different meals, snacks, or drinks that complement the viewing experience, what films would you choose?
I mean,
what would you pair them with?
There's enough Pepsi variants now that you can probably do that, like, pair them up there, you know?
Yeah.
Like Blade Runner with Pepsi Electric Blue, it just goes.
Yes,
come on.
Yes. I'm worried this film's going to be a sort of Pepsi cherry experience, because cherry feels like a sort of sex fruit.
Wow.
Well, you know what I'm saying?
Not really, no. What's Pac-Man's fucking? Is he a pervert or something like that?
Yeah, he is. He's popping pills and then eating cherries.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of like fruit emoji that you would associate with sex before you got to cherries.
Well, yeah.
Hey, this is what I think of you and your tiny red balls. Said. Hang on a second. I want to see if I got a red receipt from this motherfucker.
Yeah. No. Okay. I mean, maybe the peach has sort of it's come in and taken that crown. But cinemaswirl@gmail.com if you think cherry is a sex fruit.
It's a sex fruit. Look at him. One even whiff of getting to your eyes wide shut, and he's gone sex mad.
Sex mad.
Sex mad.
Right. In answer to Joe's question,
with the new pope and all. Really?
We were excited about the new pope I was excited about the new pope on the Swirl recording before the new pope had been announced, but now the Swirl that's going out, we talk about the pope before the pope got announced.
That's how much agnostic Sam was excited about Godfather 3. He started speculating about the pope of a religion he has no affiliation with whatsoever. Fantastic.
I'm going to try and answer Joe's question, but the only thing I can think of, do you remember Richard Bacon's Beer and Pizza Club TV show?
No.
It was
Richard Bacon's Beer and TV Club.
Pizza and beer and...
Pizza. Or I'm going to say right now as well, anyone's listening over the age of 30, pizza and beer, like, pick a fucking lane. Like, what the fuck am I, made of carbohydrate digesting enzymes? Like, I've not got issues there, but I'm not going to push my fucking luck, am I? I'll never get a soy intolerance. I'm going to have some tofu dipped in soy milk. Right. Like, come on.
Okay.
Pace yourselves.
Joe, I've changed my mind. Every film we've done on Cinema Swirl and Swill, you compare with a frozen pizza and a can of goddamn Pepsi Max.
Probably.
That's how I enjoy my films. You get that time back in flavour.
You do.
You hang out with your mates.
That time that you can spend watching a movie. And you can hang out with your mates, and if you're watching a movie, you don't really have to hang out with your mates, if you know what I mean. You can just be the one who makes sure no one goes on their phone too much. Oh, I enjoyed that movie. Did you? Oh, that's interesting.
Could have fooled me.
Could have fooled me. Sam, I never screen watch, and in fairness, those people could be like the person I saw in the cinema previously. They could in fact be watching the actual movie on a much more familiar palm-sized screen instead. So
well, when we watch this, I'm going to be watching all of the previous Kubrick films at the same time on my phone to try and get the
That's a good idea. I think that's a very good idea.
Experience. Any food, drinks you'd pair with a film, Kevin, at all?
I mean, there's certainly meals that I would go for where I'm like, that's a longer meal. Like, that involves, like, construction of bits. You know, a longer movie would go with something like a tacos or a kebabs or wraps or something like along those lines. But in terms of the things that I would pair with, I feel like there's a wide open market to pair cheeses with movies, you know? Yeah. Because, like, cheese is like the wine of food, and you don't have to drink alcohol to enjoy it, you know?
No. Yeah.
I would also recommend various sparkling waters, but the bigwigs here in the UK and Ireland decided we don't like Liquid Death enough to continue stocking it commercially, so fine.
I'm just thinking cheese sans cracker is perhaps the perfect cinema food because it's so soft and quiet to eat.
It is.
Yeah.
People, they have to unwrap their indoor fireworks before we can get to the movie. Oh my God. Come on.
I'm now just imagining a cinema that brings out a succession of small plates.
Sorry, we do small movies here. We recommend like 3 or 4 per screening, you know?
Joe, I feel like, we've sort of answered your question there.
You've been sort of answered. Thank you very much for writing in.
There were a bunch more questions on that Patreon post, but I'm going to save them for future episodes.
Put them in the flash freezer, Sam.
We've got a long film to get into.
We in fact have quite a long film to get into.
So.
And they're actually ringing the whistle down at the perfectly legal DVD shop for us to go and watch it now. So we're going to go and see this movie inexplicably with eyes wide shut. Let's go do a cinema swirl. We're back. Sam, initial gut reaction to Eyes Wide Shut.
Kevin, I've got 2 fake initial gut reactions, 2 funny ones. So I'm going to do those now. So
let's get them out of the way first then.
So initial gut reaction 1. Fwar. Initial gut reaction.
Go. Get in.
Initial gut reaction 2. Fuck.
Whoa.
Yeah. Initial gut reaction 3. I was weird, but I liked it.
Hey.
That's the real one.
Those are the only 3 real responses to sex of any kind, to be honest. You know? So think about that when we're delving into this very sexual, erotic thriller, which, boy, it wasn't a sexy movie, as you may have. You bet on black, you bet on red. You had a nice spread on the table. I'm not going to lie.
Yes.
But certainly not raunchy.
No, a distinct lack of raunch.
Yeah, it's like if you asked a dog who's walked in on many humans having sex to describe sex, they might describe it in this manner. Because I believe a dog wandering in on humans having sex is the equivalent to Tom Cruise wandering into a clandestine sex cult. So I feel like it's not necessarily it isn't a foire, is it, Sam? It's not a foire at all.
No, it's about sex, but I mean, if we're talking numbers, right, and we're talking, a tale of the tape, more nudie ladies than we've had in any other film, as far as I can tell. More on-screen sex than I've
including
seen.
Sex Lives of the Potato Men?
Yeah.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Jesus, now.
Yes.
Well, most of that movie is Johnny Vegas doing fully nude penetrative sex, then... And that's why, honestly, frankly, you should avoid it at all costs.
It's got a similar dreamlike feeling to it now.
May have been a dream. It may have been a dream.
There were attractive people nude and there was sex happening, but it was not a sexy movie, but it was a movie pertaining to sex.
I can confidently say I could walk into that orgy and be like, don't see what the big deal is. And everyone, they'd all feel kind of like, they'll all start having sex extra to kind of like be like, no, it's great. And I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever. And at the end, they'll be like, you know what? He was a great addition to the orgy, even though he didn't participate or bring anything.
Yeah.
But he made us all look inwards, which, probably got... I'm like the cooler. I get results in an unorthodox manner in the orgy. All right,
Kevin. There were a few people looking inward in that orgy. Let me tell you. I mean, no, we can't. No, no.
I wouldn't mind looking inward on.
We can't. But I tell you what is sexy: the title font and the font on the credits. Futura Bold, later adopted quite heavily by Wes Anderson.
Yes, a very immersive font experience when you watch it on Netflix, because you get to see the title in that font, and then if you pause briefly to make sure you're watching the right movie, you'll get the extra.
Yeah.
It's like a digital laminate that goes over the movie. You have to peel it back like you would, There will be someone in some UX, UI conversations using the term digital laminate. I think that's probably a thing. But, cool font. And immediate... I'm just going straight into it, by the way. I'm just going to go straight into it. Well, you ain't going to go straight into it. There's only one way to say it, Sam. We open on our diminutive protagonist, Tom Cruise, who's ready for a night on the Tizown.
Yes. I mean, the first thing we see is Nicole Kidman undressing, and I'm like, okay, it's a sexual film.
So I said diminutive protagonist. She is also a diminutive protagonist.
Yes.
And I'm going to say it right now. She carries herself with the grace of a tall woman brimming with self-confidence, and he looks almost as tall as her. I'm calling it now, Sam. It was all PR that put it together. They were together to greatly increase his visibility as a tall man, which he was in fact not.
Yes. Oh, yes, she does look tall. But if she's the same height as Tom Cruise, she's not tall. So, yeah, clever. But
he seems taller by being with her,
Yeah, he's with that tall lady, but she's not actually tall. Clever. Clever.
Look, the same stuff went into their relationship that put Ian McKellen and Elijah Wood on screen together. Good optics is what it is.
They're a young, sexy couple. They're getting ready, as you say,
some date or some shit
for a night out. They've got a babysitter and everything. So they're a young, sexy couple. They're working, they've got a kid, and they're off for a night out in New York City.
Now, did this opening, seemingly very normal scene, was there anything about it? Like were you? What I'm interested to know is, because like all of his movies, it's one you can pore over, and literally every still image, there's probably someone out there online who's like, that book behind them features a treatise about something they're making reference to here. But did it strike you, like just from them getting ready and heading out, were you getting like any sort of a strange vibe or shift straight away, or did it all seem like, oh, perfectly normal and off to the races?
Well, I mean, so I was doing what you've described there. So when Nicole Kidman was undressing, I paused it and I really paid attention and made sure, I could catch all the references. And I kept doing that at certain points. This was probably the most normal scene up top, and it almost felt suspiciously like this is fine. They're getting
That's what
ready
makes it so weirdly, normally weird.
Yeah. It was quite spooky. It does quickly get actually weird, but it starts out relatively normal. I was doing a little bit of background looking throughout the film for sort of clues and bits and bobs, but I didn't see as much as I maybe anticipated.
Did you pick up anything? Because I feel like it's hard to stop and start with stuff you may have noticed, but were there anything like themes of things or anything like that, or stuff of a particular nature?
There's some, and I think we'll get into it throughout, but this is one where I'm like, I do want to watch this again, and I must stress, not because of the nudie ladies, because of the themes. I'm watching it.
It's like when you say, I simply have to watch 2001: A Space Odyssey again. I'm like, I know you like that big monolith. I do. I know you do. I know you do. And I'm sorry I'm not him, okay?
Mom, get out! And there's just a big... So, they're at it's Christmas time. No one talks about this as a Christmas film, but it's Christmassy as fuck. There's Christmas stuff everywhere, but it doesn't feel
it's like
Christmassy.
It's a Christmas movie the way like Gremlins is a Christmas movie, in that like kind of there's an ominous sense of using Christmas to both disarm you and put you in kind of a slight sense of unease. I think the fact that you see like Christmas trees constantly, you open the shots on Christmas trees all the time. Every time you walk into a new room, you see a new type of Christmas tree. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily like, isn't Christmas great? Way, holidays are coming. It's more like Hawkeye, the series on Disney Plus, where you're like, why is it Christmas? It makes me feel weird.
Yeah, there's a weird Christmas feeling. But I quite liked that as a Kubrick thing. There's just Christmas trees everywhere, lots of lights. But they're at a party, Christmas party. They don't know anyone. They've been invited by one of Tom's... Tom's a doctor, and they've been invited by one of his patients to this swanky do.
Frankly, great banter at the do. You know, it is like you know that's the banter from a couple that are either like effortlessly cool or have got an extremely dark secret, and it does turn out quite quickly to be the latter, not the former. But even still, there's a moment where you're like, oh, they're fun, as opposed to oh, they're broken. So that was nice.
Yeah. But it quite quickly turns the other way, which is nice. It doesn't let you be like, oh, they're a nice, normal, fun couple. It all goes wrong quick.
Sam, I don't think I could say I feel I excel at any social environment whatsoever. But if I was to stake my claim and I had to do some sort of a final challenge or final test, I would set myself at a Christmas party. I feel I excel in a Christmas party environment.
Okay.
And I think it's because I love Christmas and people can tell.
Yeah. Well, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. Whereas here, I can tell that this man likes drugs and sex with women doing drugs.
Yes. So Tom Cruise, he recognises the pianist. That's pianist, man playing the piano. Kevin, I need to not get silly and naughty for this, because there are...
Be serious when talking about Nick Nightingale, which is the most Stanley...
What a name!
Nick Nightingale. He's the streetwalker. The pianist.
Love Nick Nightingale. He recognises Nick Nightingale, his mate from medical school, who's now playing piano on stage at this party as a little...
Yes, Nicole quips, once a doctor, always a doctor. False, my dad was a doctor, now he's retired and he's a poet.
Yes. But his poetry has a kind of...
There is a medicinal quality to it, I would say.
A healing quality to that
you
poetry.
prescribe his poetry, yes.
Yeah, so that leads to our couple going off into different bits.
Don't take that out of context and say that my father's literature is prescriptive. That is not what I was saying.
No, it could be prescribed.
That is a step away from funereal, and that is not what he is.
No.
You take it back.
Our main couple have gone into two different bits, and Nicole puts a glass down next to an older gentleman who very confidently just picks it up and drinks it as a kind of weird power play. And then we get into this thing where, I mean, she's then ends up dancing with this older man, and everyone feels like they're speaking in fucking code, and it all starts to feel unreal.
You know what it is? They're all adults and grown-ups is what it is, and we're probably way past our bedtime seeing this kind of shit now. That's not
What are they talking about? I don't understand.
Would you like a needlessly dense referential moment here of something that was in the background that adds to the effect? When Sandor there now was grabbing her glass and being all sexy with her and trying to be seductive, he was stood by a book which is the Art of Love, which is a book that came out during Roman times that was a satire about how to cheat on your spouse, and had stuff like, make sure you bribe the guardsmen and the people who are the servants and whatnot. And in that very book, one of the main things they say that you should do is to drink from the woman you want's glass.
Right.
Now, I don't operate under those rules, Sam. I operate under American Pie Presents Girls rules.
Yes.
And I'm not putting up with shit like that anymore.
No. But that's interesting that you had kind of weird fucking grifter rules like that back in the day.
I know, right? Come on, guys.
Drink from a glass, mate. She'll love it. And you know what? It works in this case, because...
There's barbarians at the gates. Shut up, I'm going to score.
She's there with this rude man, but she seems to be sort of taken with him in a flirty way, but slightly distant. Meanwhile, Tom has been accosted by some British girls, some models, in fact, who are
Yes,
flirting with
and
him.
there is this kind of like, I don't know, unless you went into this movie being like just genuinely a bit horny, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that, you know what, people watch movies feeling that way all the time, and
Yeah.
that's their business. But it does a very good job at showing you like all the different types of, I'm not sure is lust the right word or whatever, because everyone is like one of the girls when she's talking to him is literally like
Yeah.
she's just like, and there's lots of variants on that. It's all like people to the same end with different means. Some people drink from other people's glasses. Other people are just like trying to go for a snog straight away. Later on,
Yeah.
you see people use, other more duplicitous means or whatever it is. But it is as much a horny movie as it is a movie about the dare I say, the perils and the shortcomings of said horniness.
Yes, I think so. I think I need to watch this another.
I'm coming at you with a 3-4 time watching kind of rhetoric here now, and I think you probably could do without that.
No, it's fine, but I do genuinely think I need to have another go on this.
But did you feel like lost or anything like that at this point? Is that what you mean, or
No, but I think that sort of feeling of like, is kind of deliberate. It feels
Yes.
Kubrickian, sure, to be a bit, confused,
Good word. It's a
maybe.
good word,
I mean,
isn't it? Like,
these British ladies, they're leading Tom away somewhere, and they're saying things like, "Come with us to where the rainbow ends." And again, it's like everyone's speaking in code that might be a sex thing, might be a drug thing.
I was going to say, are you getting sex or drugs or both there?
Maybe
or
both.
genuinely like rare metals, like that's
Yeah.
that's play. That's in play. I assume Sandor does say we're cut between both of these, like kind of the
Yeah.
partners who split up. And I would say if you're going to a party and you don't know anyone, splitting up, you might as well actually divorce. You might as well split up for real. Like,
Yeah.
because he says here, oh, what's the best part of marriage? He says it's the constant game of deception. I would argue one of the best parts of marriage is if you go to a party like this where you don't know
got
anyone,
someone.
you've got someone, and it's like the rule that they're your best friend and they
Yeah.
have to hang out with you. Like,
Yeah.
it's the sense of ease that people get with their phone. That's like 10 times that ease you get when you're married, And they're a person as well, not a phone. That's even better.
A spouse is a 10x phone, is what I always say. Yeah, it does feel like everyone's speaking in weird fucking riddles.
Because Tom reacts in a way where I was literally expecting to be like, diddly diddy dee, 2 ladies, diddly diddy dee, and here's me.
Well, so he seems more detached from the weirdness than Nicole is. She seems a bit more, a fae with that world.
In fairness though, Sam, I've watched enough Married at First Sight Australia and UK to know someone when they've had too many glasses of Prosecco.
Well, yes, and she
Come on now.
she does say that. Mr. Ziegler, the guy who's invited them to this party.
Oh yeah, do you come upstairs real quick? Oh man.
Gets Tom.
This is where the rainbow starts. Do you want to come up here? Actually, I've got an issue.
Tom gets called away into a room, and there's a naked woman who has overdosed on speedball.
Yes, she's had some sort of a combination. I believe it's called a snake bite, lager and cider together at the same time.
It's dangerous stuff.
What brands? How much did she had? Was it cut with cordial? Like, how pure was it?
Cut with cordial.
Come on, man! Is this like fucking Tuborg or what's in here? Like, come on!
Excellent Tuborg reference. I haven't heard anything about Tuborg for a long time. So, right, he's in the room. He's helping out the woman who was overdosed on speed. So, the guy who's running this party or has set up this party, he's like putting his clothes on, and this woman is, overdosing on something.
He is acting like a sink is backed up. Do you know what I mean? He's kind of like,
Ugh.
look, I know that I bear something of a responsibility due to just the proximity of the affair, but
Yes.
you're the tool man to take care of this, and I really should be putting on some clothes now.
He doesn't even offer Tom a cup of tea while he's,
No,
working
come on,
away.
like, come on.
Tom does sort this woman out, brings her back around. Meanwhile, a Hungarian guy flirted with Nicole Kidman is saying something like, "The sculpture gallery's upstairs, would you like to see it?" And she seems to understand what that means. I don't understand what that means. I don't think I'd fare well at one of these parties.
But do you, the thing is, right, at one of these parties,
Yeah.
and this is, when we say one of these parties, it's not like one of those parties later, it's one of these parties here, which is kind of like almost like a prequel of sorts, or a beta version, a trial software of the full fat affair that comes later on. Yeah. Is your worry if you're not going to do well in this that you're not going to have the sex, or you're accidentally going to have sex? Like, because both either could be a jam, like, right?
I don't want to go to a party. You know what? I'm going to end the sentence there.
I don't want to go to a party.
I don't want to go to
Fair,
a party.
I understand. I empathise.
And look, that's kind of the end of that bit. You know, she flirts with that guy. He saves a woman.
I would say you do get the sense, though, that she is perhaps entertained the at least the fantasy of cheating, as opposed to Tom, where he's like, "That's not part of the rules." Says the man who's about to go home, have sex with Nicole Kidman, and eat 2 curries. Are you fucking serious? Rules? What rules are you playing by?
Well, we briefly see them back at home after the party. There's some sort of sexy guitar music. Did a bad thing, and they're all naked and smooching. But
come on now, he's not even started yet. Don't be fucking saying it's one thing or the other. Like,
they're naked and smooching, but Nicole's looking, I think, in the mirror, but kind of breaking the fourth wall, looking.
She's detached,
not fully happy. Kevin, we see so much of Nicole Kidman's bum in the first like half an hour of this. They really, Stanley loads it up. You know.
Again, that's the dog, not the.
That's
the
director,
not the dog.
Not the dog. It's bum heavy. It's front loaded with Rhea.
I think that he likes arses in the way that Quentin Tarantino likes feet.
Yeah.
He's fond of them.
Yeah.
You know?
They're both back at home.
Humdrum daily life.
Back in their normal life. He's doing his doctory stuff. There's women taking their tops off because he is a doctor who has to do examinations of breasts. She's at home with their daughter, and
you hear that she used to run an art gallery, but it's not successful. Yeah. So there's obviously she's maybe lacking something to occupy her mental load in the same way that Tom is.
And when they both get home at the end of a long day, they go to their secret stash of weed.
Yeah, they roll what looked to be a joint made entirely out of ditchweed. It looked like if they rolled that, it would tear itself in it looked genuinely horrible. And the fact that an argument ensues afterwards makes me think that's why you made cursed weed. Drugs and you've had a bad time. It's a marriage quick time event. We see these on Married at First Sight all of the time. Would you fuck them? But no, you got it wrong, you idiot. It was final test week, and you didn't identify the final test, and you failed it.
A side note, do you remember when that woman was like, if I did OnlyFans, would you be okay with that? And then the guy was like, yes. And then that was the wrong answer, and that was bad, but he was trying to actually be quite nice.
Trying to be quite good.
Just a mess.
I just need to tell you right now, I heard that in the most recent season of Married at First Sight Australia, the producer had to leave. And then after watching the episode where they made one of the guys write a letter about his wife and why he doesn't like her to someone else, where he revealed that he thought that she was a snob, and then the producer made him read it back to her later, and then he tried to change it in real time but couldn't do it because English wasn't his first language. And then later on, they gave the letter to her to read to confirm he had left bits out. And you know why he resigned? Because there was simply no more kingdoms left to conquer, Sam. That's why. That's why.
Get Kubrick directing that with AI because he's dead. Nicole's very slowly... Yeah, there's this marriage quick time event. They're talking about how they were feeling about the respective people that they ended up with at the party.
Raging.
Well, it turns into, you know, she's like, oh, well, when you're being a doctor and you're touching titty, do you enjoy it? Or does the woman who's being touched enjoy it because you're the handsome doctor guy? They're acting kind of weird here, but they're also playing stoned, and they're also in a Stanley Kubrick movie.
Yeah,
so,
did you gather much from the, like, Stanley has in the past had lots of very, very good criticism labelled at him about how he got performances out of people. This is one of them. You kind of alluded to it earlier where you thought that, did this break him up or something like that? They did divorce, I think it was like 2 years after this?
Not long.
Did you find out anything, or did you surmise to know anything about how they all got on making this movie?
No.
They lived in Kubrick's house for like ages before even starting filming.
Okay.
And they didn't know when they were going to start. So there was that kind of like stir craziness. When they started filming, they made them stay on the set in the room that is their room in the movie, to kind of like get, and he would separate them, and he'd be like, all right, Nicole, today tell me about, all your deepest fears and insecurities, and he'd do the same with Tom. And then to ratchet up the emotion in certain scenes, it is alleged, he would kind of go over to Tom and be like, oh, she's talking mess about you. And go over to Nicole, Tom Cruise is talking mess about you too. And then they'd be like, fucking like, I hate you.
Stone Cold Stanley Kubrick.
I know. But the idea of him kind of basically, we've seen it many times before in this podcast of the means to the end. Now,
yes,
I do find it quite hard to have any sort of a sympathy for multi-squadrillionaire type A-list, S-rank, basically alien celebrities like Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman.
Sure.
I will say, however, that sounds stressful as fuck.
It does sound stressful as fuck. I know this.
Imagine we had to record this podcast in Stanley Kubrick's house.
But he'd make us do it again and again and again and again. Now, that said, there would be something interesting about, podcast number 10, number 20, if we just had to keep doing this over and over again. In
fairness, Sam, and both times I did it for the Ad Share podcast. We reached the end of our 4th season. I also did it here with you for when we had a 10-year spectacle. When I've revisited things that I podcasted ages ago, I can only say that the second attempt was better than the first, so maybe Stanley was onto something.
Yeah, but what if we had to do it immediately? What if when we finish recording this now...
With a nice decade buffer, I don't think Stanley would be down with that now.
But
Tom was made to walk into the same door 95 times.
Right.
And it wasn't even open, so you can imagine how sore that was. Fucking hell.
Very good.
With all due respect to the great folks out there who are into medical play, medical fetish, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking as the son of a doctor, in the middle of this argument, watching them, I rejected Nicole's central premise about doctors' visits being really sexy. Well, you just, come on. No one's getting off in a surgery in Clonmel now. Come on.
No, and Tom makes that same point too. He's saying, sex is the furthest thing from my mind, but an argument is happening, and there is a convincing but also weird reality and authenticity to this argument. It feels kind of...
Feels like they don't like each other very much.
Yeah, which is
in a way, would you think, hey, you know what? Thanks very much, Stanley Kubrick, because you broke something that was clearly already broken. So there you go. How about that? I will say, she fucking freaked the bejesus out of me when she starts laughing mid-argument. It did make me reconsider ever trying to be funny ever again, in case I ever made someone do that.
Yeah, that's quite... It's haunting laughter. And then the conversation suddenly shifts to Nicole. Also, I'm going to call them Nicole and Tom. They
are Nicole and Tom. Fuck your names, come on.
She reminisces about a time when they were on vacation and she saw a sexy Navy officer.
Navy officer was much taller. He only ordered one entree, a curry, and it was very, very appealing, very erotic.
Yes.
Now, he's not like, oh, how you yada, but we do, as the movie progresses, realize that this is planted a seed. He'll be playing this imagined scenario on loop, because nothing actually happens. She just says, I saw him and I thought, there he is now, a grand bit of business.
Well, now hold on, because...
There he is now, a grand bit of business.
I would have been willing to give up you and indeed our daughter to be with this man who I've just glanced at. She says that, essentially.
Grand bit of business.
Well, that's all contained within grand bit of business. It's very intense. She said she was relieved when she realised that the man was gone, I think because she knew that if he had not been gone, she might have acted on these impulses, these feelings. And then we're interrupted by the phone ringing.
Woo!
Ooh, saved by the bell, so to speak.
Oh, no, someone's dying, babe. Oh, I gotta go. Oh, yeah.
So I had Kubrick appreciation whiplash. I'm going to explain what I mean here. Because Tom ventures out into New York to get in a taxi and go to this place. And I thought, Kubrick filmed New York looks fucking great.
Hell yeah.
And then I thought, the little imaginary scene in Tom's head where the Navy guy is fucking his wife looks so silly. It's like,
It seems like a flashback from The Room, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like the blue lighting and all that, And she's like, "Oh, naval officer. Oh, yeah."
it's so weird. So I had like, oh, this is great. Oh, that's kind of silly, but maybe in a few watches I'll be like, oh, that's the best bit, actually.
And Tom Cruise is there, head in the hands, being like, "I can't believe Nicole Kidman betray me."
You're tearing me apart, Nicole. It's Christmassy. We've got to remember that. So it's nice seeing New York at Christmas. Every house he goes into, every room he goes into, every building you go into has some sort of Christmassy stuff going on. Tom's now speaking to the daughter of a deceased patient.
A now deceased patient.
Yes.
And I love how they do this. They constantly throw you into these places where, you're not given a lot of handholding. It's just like, here you are, like their lives are going on. We're not setting up like his relationship with this woman or this family. It's just like, you get as much of a snapshot that he would, I guess, as a doctor, where it's like, here's just a thing, and you have to kind of jump in, and it's just business, or as they say, or whatnot.
Yeah.
So the fact that they go from like having just kind of a typical consoling conversation, and then she's like, yeah, and then she's going for the fucking snog and all as well.
So I think there's this implication that Tom has, and he was in his.
That's why it works. It's Tom Cruise, so you do
handsome.
get that kind of, he's a handsome man, like,
Yes.
He's
a handsome doctor. And that's
it. He radiates a handsome, successful person. When people walk across the street to be like, hey, I want to know you understand that. It reads.
Yeah.
It doesn't. If you're somebody who fucking hates Tom Cruise, this would wind you up, though.
You know what it is, actually? I'm thinking it's magnetism. When they say magnetism, people are literally attracted to him and they just come towards him whether he wants them to or not.
He's literally full of magnets.
Yes.
Like, that thing where he's a certain thetan level in Scientology where they can levitate.
It's because he's got all this magnets.
There's magnets, man.
Yes. This lady, this grieving lady whose dad has died, whose dead dad is in the room, is thinking about, is actively kissing Tom Cruise and talking about hating her fiance.
This movie serves you up a buffet of all various ways in which, you as a viewer, various viewers will look at various scenarios here and kind of go, that's the least appropriate or least sexual moment I can imagine. Why have you added, why is this person now beginning to kiss the other person?
Yeah.
Because, parties where people are clearly uncomfortable, or, this situation where, my relation to you is your old dead dad is right there.
There he is.
And, I think it's a good way at getting the audience to kind of, I don't know, reflect a little bit on desire and stuff like that. It's a nice way of doing it without the movie just feeling like it's a total non-stop fucking grind fest of horniness.
Yeah.
Because it does kind of crop up here and there very, very much. But he has to let her down gently and be like, I don't think I've ever talked to you not about your dead dad. And he's dead now, so that's kind of our link severed in a sense.
It sort of makes horniness seem like a zombie illness.
It's a good thing that old man is dead, because he fucking, oh my god, he was so horny before he died. He was ridiculous.
I do like that this woman, her fiance, who comes in to visit, he sort of looks like
he's like a shit Tom Cruise.
Yeah, he's not Tom Cruise. That's deliberate, right? That's like a funny thing. That he just sort of looks kind of like Tom Cruise.
He's a slightly less good Tom Cruise, if he didn't come out fully formed,
So Tom's essentially done his little mission there, and he's now walking the streets of New York.
Yes, we've all had these. One of those, it seems like everyone is kissing tonight walks.
Yes. Once again, the Kubrick New York looks amazing and kind of unreal. There was one bit where it sort of looks like there's projection stuff going on weirdly, and I can't work out why, because the rest of it looks real. I don't know.
It's very dreamlike in elements, but also
Yes.
you could just read it as he's going to the next to the next place.
Yes.
It is legible in very different ways, I guess. Because I feel like the first few times I watched this movie, I was like, oh my god, this is like Mulholland Drive. It's a total dream sequence. It's all like effervescent waking dream. What's real? What's not?
Yeah.
And this time, I felt like a great sense that it was very grounded in reality, and you could look into themes, but I was like, he's not in a dream. All of this is happening. Like this, none of this is imagined. Whereas the first few times I was like, it's all in his head. Half of this didn't even happen. He's just squirreling away in his head because he's jealous of his wife's fantasy.
It definitely feels dreamlike. I'm starting to wonder if it feels kind of like a memory that was based on reality. But look, we could get too deep into that sort of thing. There are just some lads randomly hurling homophobic abuse at Tom at one point.
Yeah, you don't get that much these days. I must admit, like I was a straight man who received a lot of erroneous homophobic abuse on the street back
Likewise,
in the day. And,
yeah.
and I was like, hey, you know what? I'll take some for my gay brothers and sisters. Give me some. I'll take some. Let me take it off your plate. I'll take it. Tom got shoved though. That's going too far, man. Come on.
Yeah, it almost seems quite like exaggerated and ridiculous, the amount of random homophobic abuse he gets. But fine, that happens to him.
Again, that's a pretty unsexy thing, I would say.
Yeah.
Like if he was thinking about fantasizing, it's like, no, not tonight, friend.
But then
he's going to make sure that. And yet from there, he's immediately approached by a beautiful lady in an even more beautiful hat, and off to the races we go again.
Yes. So does she just like walk up to him? Again, it's that kind of...
She literally walks up to him off the street, yeah. But again, that also feels like in a dream, when you meet people, that's what happens. They just, I don't know about you, but in my dreams, people are just like, hello, I'm there, like, you know. Come up to you, need something? You know, that type of thing.
Yeah, she invites him in and her flat's like literally just there. He goes in. I mean, she's a sex worker. Again, there's Christmas trees. I love it. I love the recurring Christmas tree thing.
Her Christmas tree was great.
It was great.
It was great. It was just the right type of shit, you know? And she's like, you want to have a little bit of fun? And I'm like, lady, put that hat on my head. We'll both be having fun. We'll be in fucking hysterics. I guarantee a pop.
Wonderful Christmas time. Now, they're talking about money because this is a transactional thing. And she says, well, what do you want to do? And he says, what do you recommend? Now,
yeah, like my dad going to Burger King for the first time. What would you recommend?
This is exactly the sort of shit I would say in that situation.
Is there like an app I need to download, or
a QR code thing?
Do I give you my table number first, or is it like, yeah?
And as he's, they do seem to have a kind of, a chemistry. They're getting on. As they're kissing, his phone goes off. We're once again pulled away by the phone. And this all feels like it's sort of, some of these things mean something, but I don't know what they mean. But
what do you mean?
Well, like the fact that situations that are just coming to a kind of important climax are interrupted.
Oh, then he gets completely sidetracked.
He's called away.
That, again, is another dreamlike property for sure.
So we had the girls at the start taking him off to where the rainbow ends, and then he's called away up to a room. He's arguing with Nicole. He's called away to a grieving woman.
We call this the Skyrim effect, when you can't really do anything you set out to do.
Yes.
And then at the end of it, you're like, why do I even bother doing anything to begin with? Ugh.
Nicole's on the phone. She's like, I'm tired. When are you coming home?
Are you cheating, are you? No. No. You know what? I think that the fact that he walks away, you know what? He knows he's done wrong here. I wonder if it's the case. I feel like sex workers should have a 24-hour cancellation surcharge.
Yeah.
Like if it's like in the I'm not showing up now in 5 minutes. Well, it's like, well, we have £20 deposit taken off your card already, and that's going through.
No time wasters.
No time wasters, please.
But he does, very kindly pay the full amount.
Yeah, it almost feels like he gets as much thrill from like paying the woman for not doing the job that he just wanted to like be like, there you go, he just wanted to do that, like. Well,
that's another thing. He loves putting money in people's hands.
Yeah, he's very much a man who would struggle in the era of contactless. He likes going in for the big bills.
Yes, he really does.
He operates via bills. It's one of those people who I think part of their like how I present myself is through his use of money. My father never had a wallet up until long after I left home. He used to always put his money with an elastic band around it. So and it's not like he'd have like loads of cash on him. It just he'd have like £15 or whatever wrapped up with a fucking. And that was like, he'd take out and he'd unfurl it and all that. Yeah. It made me suspect after watching The Sopranos my dad might have been in the mob, but that's just a stereotype, isn't it?
There's something nice about folding a bill and putting it into someone's hand that Tom seems to do.
I like to go up real small, put
Yeah.
it in a handshake, or I've coughed money at you before. I went through a big phase of that. Yeah,
You
it's
have.
good.
He does feel like he's kind of floating around from place to place. There is, I don't want to keep being like, there's a video gaming quality to this, but he is sort of just floating into the next mission point and just kind of appearing places. And so these feel like side missions, side quests.
The feeling that they get in this though is like the feeling that I think a lot of esoteric-y type of walking around dread-filled video games try to emulate. And I mean, you could definitely say about this movie, much like nearly every fucking thing he has done, but the influence of this is, it's not just felt in movies or whatever it is. It feels very much like I see a lot of it in video games, like from stuff you mentioned and more obvious stuff later on as well, I guess.
He walks past a jazz cafe and sees a picture of Nick Nightingale.
Nick Nightingale.
Nick Nightingale.
Nick Nightingale.
The pianist from the party, who's his mate from medical school. He sits down at the jazz cafe to watch the jazz, just as they're saying,
"Oh, it's finishing.
I'm Nick Nightingale. Thanks. That's it for tonight." And again, there's a feeling of like, oh, it's going to be the thing. Oh, no, it's stopped. It's gone away. It's
okay. There is obviously a dreamlike quality to that again. However, counterpoint: if you've ever tried to go out and start your night after midnight, this is a very common feeling as well, where you feel like you're just missing the tail end of something good, and then you're out like you should have went to see Jazzy Jeff that one time, Kevin. You idiot.
He gets chatting to his old mate. They have a sit down, they have a chat, and the guy's like, "Look, I'm doing gigs left, right, and centre, mate. This is like when we were doing stand up in Lincoln back in the day. We'd be chatting to people, and they'd be
I'm
like,
doing pretty good. Go where the work is, mate. Go where the work is, which is mainly Leicester.
Yes. Oh, a lot of gigs in Leicester.
Lots of gigs in Leicester.
He's saying, I'm doing a gig later on tonight at like 2 a.m, mate. And this place doesn't reveal its location until an hour before.
Okay, I'll tell you. It's in the Isle of Scale. Oh, never mind.
And I'm like, okay. I instantly was like, this is the sex party. Nick has to play blindfolded, but he's like, oh, one time the blindfold wasn't so folded so blindly, and I could see.
It's more like eyes wide open, if you know what I'm saying.
And he gets a call there and then with the password, which he writes down on a napkin.
Which is Willie's.
Which is, what was it? It's a
Willie's.
Shakespeare play or something. It's some
shite.
Yeah.
Some fucking Beethoven old shite.
And I thought when Tom Cruise saw the password written down, I was like, oh, Tom Cruise will remember this. And he keeps that in his inventory for later. But it's just being like, Nick, mate, can you just tell me exactly where this is? I know the password now.
I want confirmation, please. Thank you.
But he needs...
I'm not taking a long drive unless I have confirmation. Thank you.
He can't get in without the blue key / a costume and a mask, because everyone goes there costumed and masks. So where does he have to go?
Late night costume shop excursion.
Yes.
Which, for some reason, I can't tell you why, sounded like really appealing to me. Like going to a big Tesco after midnight. I'm like, I'll go around there for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know what? Any 24-hour supermarket after midnight does feel a bit like Eyes Wide Shut. You just sort of... It's good.
It is. It's good.
But it's got a dreamlike quality.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
And when Sam's in there with his eyes wide shut, he's going to miss all the top deals and bargains, which go to me instead.
Yes.
The savvy customer.
Tom's got a patient who owns a costume store. He's got a patient who does everything. He's a doctor.
Yes, you can tell that he strongly identifies a big part of his personality being a doctor, because he says the line, I am a doctor, more than anything else. And he shows his special, like he's Phoenix Wright. Like that's right there in the inventory. His medical... If someone has ever said to you, I'm a doctor, and are you going to be like, where's your BMJ registration? Or are you going to ask for like medical counsel?
No.
You wouldn't even know that that's a thing.
I wondered if that was weirdly a Doctor Who reference thing. Because Doctor Who has this like magic, I can't remember what it is, like a magic card or bit of paper that just can be anything that the person seeing it wants it to be. Like, so if he says, oh, I'm a police officer, it would be a police badge. Oh,
right.
I'm this, it would be that.
The problem there is, Sam, is that being Irish, I unfortunately am unable to onboard any information about Doctor Who whatsoever.
No, but I didn't know if that was a reference to that sort of thing. But it does have this effect on people where he goes, I'm a doctor, here's some documentation. And then they start to open up and say things.
Yeah, in fairness though, Sam, if I show someone a book of matches with confidence and look them in the eye, I'll get in fucking anywhere. Like, woo, come on.
What thing would you claim to be while showing a book of matches? Like, I am a fighter.
I mean, it's situationally dependent.
Yeah.
But if it's a very small card like that, they're like, oh, he must be like a prosecutor or
Ah.
something. It's a little guy. Like, actually, I'll tell you what, the number one thing that you could show is a small enamel badge on a card background.
Yes.
You had that and you flashed it.
I'm convinced. Yeah.
If you had a Captain America badge in that, I'd get you into the Supreme Court. But again, eye contact.
The guy Tom was looking for has moved to Chicago, but the new owner is here. I love this character, Mr. Milich.
Oh, that's very revealing. Why did you love him?
Well, no, but you find out stuff later and then it's bad. But
oh yeah. Whoa.
I was gushing in this section and be like, this guy's great. He's my favourite part of the movie.
He's tired. He opens up the shop. Hopefully he hasn't got a horrible sexual secret like every other character in the movie.
Everything he does, I agree with. Love this guy. Tom's essentially managed to negotiate and say, look, I'll pay you $200 more. Again, it's just money to him. He can just throw money at anything. But this costume store owner, he's got a spooky, fun vibe. He's an interesting character. He's a cool character.
In every way possible, he seems like the type of man who would open up a costume shop at 2 a.m.
Yes.
He
exactly
has that energy to him.
Perfectly cast. But there is a bit when, they're looking at the costumes and getting all the stuff where Mr. Milich's young daughter.
And 2 men.
2 men who are in makeup and little pants.
And basically, if they played the Benny Hill theme, you'd be like, hey, but they don't. So it's like, Jesus, fuck.
Very sad. But
it's very sad, awkward situation.
But then Milich gets very, dramatic. Gentlemen, do you know no decency? And it's all that sort of thing. Locks them in a room, says it's a police matter. And I was like, okay.
Serious business, man.
I don't fully understand what's happened there, but he's solving it in the way he knows how. Still on board with this character.
Seems like a solid arrangement he has went into there.
And then, look, that's that bit done.
Yeah, this would be me calling it a night at this point. Like, you are, like this is when you realise that no party could be as good enough to be no juice is worth this squeeze.
No, there's a lot of squeeze.
Lots of squeezing and paying to squeeze as well. Oh, great. What's going to cap this off? Now you've bought clothes you don't need. Oh, I'm going to go on a really long cab drive. Yay.
Yeah. Very expensive journey.
City at this hour. Come on now. I don't live in New York and I know that's a bad idea.
He's spending a lot of money. He offers the taxi driver an extra $100. Again, money will just do everything. You can just pay money to get what you want.
I will say something very cool, and this is a great power play. And as a man who's pro contactless and rather doesn't have a lot of cash, ripping the bill in half, Sam. Ripping the bill in half. Do you know that if you rip a bill in half and you fill out a form, the Bank of England will give you back the value of the bill?
Even if you just got half?
It has to be at least half, though.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, in some states in America, it needs to be 2/3, which is fucking ludicrous. Like, what's happening? Like,
that is weird.
Where in that small sliver of hypothetical money are we falling by the wayside here?
It's a cool power play, though. It looks cool.
Oh,
too.
it is.
Yeah.
Because I honestly couldn't tear money without going, like,
I'd be too scared.
Case in point, the first thing I did when he did this was Google, is that legal tender still now? Has he just done himself out of $50?
We had an assembly at school where one of the teachers was talking about...
Someone's been tearing money.
No, was talking about smoking and saying how bad of an idea it is and how you shouldn't do it, and said that, and it's expensive. And said, when you were smoking, here's what you're doing. And tore a note. And we were all so fucking shocked that someone had torn money. We're like, is that okay? And then we were reassured later that it can be taped back together and still used as legal tender. But
I find a good way to save money is that if you have torn a bill or two, you're very unlikely to reach to sell it, because there's always part of you that thinks that someone's going to go, oh, I can't. So you end up like it lives in the wallet then, like a university condom. It'll be there. No, you know you're never going to use this.
But nowadays with these, look, you can't.
Satan can't do that. That's an image of the Queen. He can't.
Sorry. For listeners, I was trying to tear one of those plastic notes. You can hear it there.
So what? You think that Tom Cruise would look like a boob if he was trying to do that? Although in fairness, he's got American money. That's like crepe paper. Like, you know, he could blow it like a dandelion and fucking come in parts.
What he does in the cab looks cool because he picks up the note, tears it, and gives him half of it. If I got this and then broke out a little pair of scissors and went snip, 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 that doesn't have the same effect. It really doesn't.
No, and also that cab driver was playing it cool because if I was driving the cab and the guy rips up money, I'd be like, "Oh, can you do that? Is that legal tender still? Are you sure?" So you're going to get extra money if he hangs back.
Yep.
Oh, you know, don't worry. I'm just going to see what this is all about. Now, Curiosity and the Cat I've heard of, but Curiosity and Tom Cruise, we'll see how far it gets him. He has his password.
Yes.
It is a very spooky place. It felt very David Lynch-like when they drove down the long, spooky wooden path.
It's a grand old hall, isn't it? Yes.
I was like, where the fuck are they? England? Like, it was some old state home they had here.
Well, I grew up near a place that looks suspiciously like this.
Yeah, until the Scarecrow burned it. Was it Who burned it down? Someone burnt it down.
Who burnt it down? Oh, yeah, someone burnt it down. But it looks like that.
But as they say in the movie, why do we burn down the buildings, Master Wayne? To get back up again. To build up the building back up again, the size of a tangerine.
It was the size of a tangerine. He gets in with the password into the party. Nick's there, Nick Nightingale, with the blindfold on, playing... Well, I thought he'd be playing piano, but he's playing fucking horrible...
Boy, oh boy, this whole thing hits so goddamn hard. That Gregorian chanting, big fan. Hope I've got the right type of chanting, and I've not done that incorrectly.
One of them ones, yeah.
The music that starts here, and I don't think there's like 5 minutes that goes by that you don't hear this motif again until the end of the movie, which is
the
dun 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 dun, ba da da ba,
yeah.
It is fucking horrible, but it's also amazing. I have it in my head constantly today now. Oh boy, it's like to have such a strong motif and it only come in at the moment. What moment? The moment when he walks into Section 2 of Resident Evil 4. The moment when he walks into the season finale of The Prisoner. This moment here, with all the fucking weird shit. Was this recognizable to you? Because I was trying to tease out at the start, were you aware of any of the kind of imagery?
Yes.
And Eyes Wide Shut is often known as the weird mask robe sex cult movie, I guess. In certain circles in France.
I understood that part of it would be in this and kind of knew the look and feel, I guess, of this. But it was maybe more spooky and less sexy than I had anticipated. It is really... weird. Minor spoilers for Severance here for people who are listening. But have you seen season 1 of Severance? There's a waffle party energy here.
Yes, there is. And because there's not a lot of people having sex, there are.
Well, not in this bit. Not this
bit.
Intro bit where you walk in.
He does. When he has to wander around, it's not as if they're all heaving away. I would say them having sex are in the minority.
Yes.
There is much people having sex at this party out in the open that I suspect are often having actual sex in private rooms at a normal party. That's my belief.
Yes.
Stiffer and the guys had people going in every room. They just weren't wearing masks and being procedural about it.
There's loads of robes. There's those weird sort of incense-looking bowl things. I'm not sure what they are.
Straight out of the tabernacle, that shit. That's very Catholic they're going for there.
Yes.
We had one priest who was fucking addicted to that shit. I swear to God, he would knock out in one benediction so much fucking incense that it'd cling to your clothes. Like, I remember visiting my granny after being to one of those masses, and they'd be like, have you been seeing like another granny behind my back? Because I can smell the cloves on you, and you're not getting that from Lynx Africa.
No. There's reversed speech, which makes me think, is this kind of Satanist stuff? It's never clear what this is, but it mixes in all sorts of different iconography, and It's spooky, but there's lots of nudie ladies as they drop their robes, but they keep their masks on.
The masks are fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Like every scene, it's like watching a Star Wars cantina scene. Like, oh, I want to see that one and that one. Any favorite masks? Because there's some statement masks here.
Kevin,
I kind of feel like some of them girls who brought the masks out this wide are like, come on now.
Kevin, a very different vibe to this scene if you had.
No, this is no, you don't have that. That's not a problem in this environment. This type of sex party is when you have that, you know, from the Redux of Return of the Jedi, the really good one.
Yeah. He's told Tom while he's here, as he's being led away by one of the nudie ladies, she's like, "You don't belong here," which is accurate.
Yeah, he's in great danger.
Yes, and I immediately realised that this was the woman who had the overdose before.
Very good.
Yes.
It's okay to say you recognised her from her very noticeable chest.
Well, it was distinctive, I would say. You know,
there is face blindness is real. Boob blindness doesn't exist. That's made up. That's made up.
I think Kubrick did that on purpose. He gave us a pair of recognisable breasts that we would be able to see later.
There is some dispute from folks who have interpreted this movie. Believe that that's not the case. He's just projected that on her. He thinks it's her.
Sure. Yeah,
He's making links that aren't necessarily there. You know, I think it's fairly like the fact that you notice it is confirmation for my my belief that it is her.
Yeah. I thought so. That's what I read from that.
But look, there's a lot going on here. All right, it's a busy place. Personally, I don't like orgies because there's too much ceremony like this. You know, there's a lot. It's like going to a graduation or something like that. You have to clap for everyone having sex.
Yeah, they get my name wrong.
It's uncatered. But on the upside, because I'm only human, Sam, looking at an orgy like this, I will just say, all right, think of the street pass hits. Oh my God, you'd be coming out there with 36 updates. I'm talking about the whole street pass will be full. The plaza will be buzzing.
Yeah, so it's worth thinking about as an option if you want to get that sorted.
Feels like there's an international flair, like you're going to fill in some of the map.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
You remember where you were when you were in an airport and you realised it's not just the Great British Isles and Ireland that are included in this street pass demo.
We get a kind of interactive tour almost of this whole thing.
Here's the sex room.
Yeah, and
there's another one over there.
I was trying to work out how to describe this, and here's what I wrote. It is raunchy, but there's a terrifying sadness to it, is what I thought at the time.
Yeah, I will say, I'm in a rock and a hard place to try to figure out what is a worse indignity to suffer. A, having sex in front of loads of people, or B, how worried I'd be that they're being quiet because I'd be like, am I not doing a good job? Like,
they just stare.
You know, it's like when the restaurants you go to Japan are like, I usually get a bit more feedback from the audience. I know that you're clapping when I do a good thrust or whatever, but I need more. Like, there should be a "This is awesome" chant by this point, right?
No one's yeeted the whole time. There's like,
am I at another no yeet orgy? God damn it! Specifically reminded you not to.
So there's a couple who, when Tom came in, kind of looked at him. The woman from that couple is sort of dropped off and approaches, like the man wanders, kind of guides her through, and then she approaches Tom to come and speak to him. She invites him into somewhere a bit more private, but then the woman we think is the overdose lady again is like, look, you're in danger, you need to get away.
Come on now.
So in retrospect, I'm kind of working out who maybe some of those people are.
Yes, because people, you could infer that that's the sex worker he met from earlier, or it could just be another lady. It could, you know, you're told. It's almost like this mask provides some sort of anonymity. It's crazy.
The man might be the Ziegler guy, possibly, and the private room was an excuse to say, like, you need to get away from here.
Yeah.
But she's saying, look, if I left with you, you need to get out of here. If I leave with you, it would risk my life and also possibly yours.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Like, honestly, I've not heard this chat around sex since I was a teenager where, like, get out of here or you're going to die, all right? It's the most fucking serious. Ah!
He doesn't leave. But, well, I suppose this is quite a climactic moment, and then a man is like, Sir, are you the one with the taxi driver? He would like to speak to you immediately.
Your taxi driver is right this way.
And Kevin, I thought we were going to get some fun with the taxi driver, but it was...
he gave me half a bill. And you have to run out with another half bill and go, Garrett, just take it away.
It was genuinely a bit of a heart-sinking, like, oh, fuck, when it's not to do with the taxi driver.
It's a room full of robed people looking at you.
Oh, God.
And the immediate failed speech check here. When he's like, what's the password? Gives the password. What's the fucking house password? Oh, no, there is. And look, I'm not advocating this type of behavior, but I will say, if there's any situation where taking out your Mickey and going, hey!
Might have saved the day.
Yeah, I'm not saying it would have, but it's worth a go.
No.
Like, right? Better than I forgot.
But, knowing the password but not knowing the house password. When like on a router where it's got the password and there's got like an admin key and you're like, I don't know that. I've got to get the thing out the back. Ugh, gross.
Kindly remove your mask and disconnect your 3DS from the Wi-Fi network.
And get your Mickey out as well. Take your clothes off, mate.
This is one of the rare cases where a naked lady intervenes to save someone from also becoming naked.
Can I say something that I've just maybe realised slightly too late? There's a load of naked ladies in this, all over the shop. I didn't see a single willy, and it's an 18, but there's not a single todger.
That's how in the mud they were back in 1999. Sam.
Yeah.
In the fucking mud.
Yeah.
You know? And quite frankly, I'm sure Sir Stanley Kubrick is glad that he died shortly after completing this movie, so he'd have to put up with that shit anymore. He'd want there to be Mickeys hanging all over the place. He wanted that monolith just to be a big dick in 2001, and they said, no, you're not allowed to do that. This is not HBO.
No, but I suppose it might be one of those things where if I pause it and there's stuff in the background, it's a book about dicks, and I'm like, okay, that he kind of, intended for that to
It's a treatise on phalluses.
Yes. As Tom's being told to remove his clothes, the woman who was trying to save him before shouts to stop, take me, I am ready to redeem him.
They felt very rock opera. I will redeem him. It felt like someone declaring something.
Yeah.
Also felt very not a movie for the 90s to have someone on a balcony go, stop, and then the camera just go and zoom right in on them like that.
Yeah.
That felt proper like Dr. Strangelove era type of cinema. Wait, you've not seen Dr. Strangelove, have you?
No.
Well, turns out there's a little bit more to come on this Kubrickian adventure.
It's a little bit more to go. And I've not seen Barry Lyndon, but I don't think anyone's clamouring as much for that.
I don't think anyone has, including me. So.
Okay. Somehow that works, and Tom is free to go, but told if you
he just kind of
say anything...
He's sent off. He's sent off like you would if you lose a task in The Apprentice, but you're not called back into the boardroom. So you're like, back off to the house with you. You know?
Yeah. Like, Alan Sugar seems angry at you, but...
I've seen enough.
Yeah, go back to the house. There will be dire consequences for your family if you tell anyone.
It was actually Lord Sugar underneath that red cloak the whole time. That's why his voice was so funny.
Wow. What a strange experience. The woman who saved him is just taken away.
Yeah, mysteriously. And, like, the rest of the movie feels like a hangover from this bit, you know?
Yes, it's a big bit. It's like
You're shook from this bit, and you get reminded because it keeps going... Dun, 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 which is like a slowed down evil version of the Cinema Swirl theme.
He finally gets home. What a night. What a long fucking night for Tom.
Alright, Sam, I was going to say, you bring home a fucking box of donuts or something after that, though, right? Like, you just fucking come in and be like, yeah. You'll come and wake up your fucking wife.
Well, come in to find your wife laughing in her sleep. Laughing in her sleep. I'd sooner have her screaming in her sleep.
Yeah, honestly, I'd take that as well. But in fairness, Sam, his technique is awful. He just wakes her up. What do you do? They don't want to wake up. They want to sleep. They want to get out of the bad dream. You just go, and then you're fine.
Yeah,
You apply the Legend of Zelda technique. You're fine.
She's recalling a dream that she had about the Navy guy. Essentially, it sounds like, yeah, and I was fucking him, and then there were loads of people there, and we're all and we're all laughing at you and calling you a dickhead.
It's a really long, boring dream she's describing. And the crux of it is there was all this fucking going on, and you were awful, and I hate you, and I was laughing, and it was just Oh, it's like, oh, no, you don't want to hear that, Tom. You don't want to hear that.
I think that's the last thing he needs at the end of that night. What he needs most is a kebab, or indeed two curries.
I think we can see where he got the appetite from it, didn't it? Because I think all recorded instances of Tom Cruise demolishing multiple curries come after the divorce.
Yes. So, the next morning, and he kind of just listens to this sad dream, by the way, and it's like, and it just compounds the feeling that he has that his wife wants to cheat on him. But off he goes to the jazz cafe to try and find Nick Nightingale. It's closed. He goes to the cafe next door to try and get some details. Again,
Doctor's privilege.
Special doctor card, and everyone opens up. It works.
And he's like, oh, there's test results he needs to see. And she doesn't know that he's talking about like a BuzzFeed article that he's done. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's piano grade 9 that he's doing it. He goes to the hotel.
Distinction, Nick. Distinction.
Yes. Go to the hotel where Nick was staying. And it's Alan Cumming.
Alan Cumming.
Hey.
This is a great bit. And again, which emphasizes that thing we were saying about like, how like every character seems to just have like the horn turned up to 90.
Yeah.
And like he is literally falling and drilling over him. But what's great is like, much like in the other time when the lady's like, yeah, talking about like how my dad is dead and I have to move to Michigan and I don't want to. God, I'm horny. And this guy's like talking about how he left at 5 a.m. and there were guys there and he had a bruise on his face. Like he's talking about like this honestly like shocking, mysterious stuff. And he's like, but enough about me.
Yeah, it's super flirty.
Shoot your shot, Alan Cumming. Go for it. Swing hard. You miss 100% of the shots you don't fuck. Go for it.
And also, who do you think's a traitor? You've got to write your thing down on a piece of chalk. I think you're bad. So
100%. 100%.
I'm 100% faithful. I'm 100% faithful. That's basically what Tom's saying throughout this whole.
That's basically saying 100%. But I had a dream where you were a traitor. I dreamt you. What's this robe in your fucking back office then, Tom? Eh?
He's kind of retracing his steps from the night before. He goes back to the costume shop.
Feels very point-and-click adventure. This bit. He's coming back to all the other spots.
Yeah.
Just like running out of like leads and things to chase up on.
And I was like, "Yay, more Mr. Millich, my favourite character from the film."
Hey, you want to buy my daughter? Huh?
Well,
the thing is, she's not of age, so it's illegal.
Yeah. So.
Oh boy, they came to an arrangement, eh?
The mask is missing. That's maybe one of the things we get here. And the other thing is.
So in fairness, yeah, Tom and the shop owner, they both have sins against them.
Yes. But yeah, essentially.
Prostituting your child, we'll get to you in a second, but deposits and costume shops, there's a reason that they're in place. It'll be a dying trade. You want to be able to look at it beforehand and stop going in just so you can take pictures for your Instagram. They need that footfall for actual transactions.
I will say that the prostituting of the daughter really put me off Mr. Millich.
You didn't see that coming?
No, I didn't. And then I started to be like, is everyone in this fucking sex cult? Is it like a kind of thing where...
Are these all human beings? Like, every single one of them? Because that's the premise of it, like, is that they're all, like, everyone is like this. They express it in different manners. It's a fairly cynical worldview, I'd imagine. I like to think that not everyone is a fucking raving, perverted lunatic.
It was making me start to feel, like, confused and suspicious and weird, which is the kind of the feeling of this whole...
That's what they want, isn't it? Like, I mean, if he's making Tom and Nicole feel that way for real, the least he could do is make us, the audience, feel that a bit.
Yeah, he goes back to the sex party location. Again, it is a bit kind of point and click. Let's go back on the next cycle and see what I can click and find. But he can't get through the gate.
Yeah, and he's driving in a Range Rover, by the way.
Yeah.
Which I want to point out the absurdity of a man in New York City driving a car that big. A, too much car for that small man.
Yeah.
B, too much car for that city. Sure, yeah. I know you're only little, Tom. You don't want a Range Rover. He'd like the car from Stuart Little. You know, like the little...
Yeah.
And you'd park in a breeze. You get around, not a bad city hopping little car, that.
I think, a Range Rover is too big for anywhere ever. And the idea of trying to park one of them... I know nowadays you've got the things where you just press a button and it parks itself. But in those days...
So they say.
So they say... That, to me, would be a nightmare. Oh, sorry, I've just got distracted by
Yeah,
thinking
honestly,
about
I'd be
parking
more
one of them.
scared. I'd be more scared about driving that Range Rover there than
Yeah.
actually confronting the sex cult after being explicitly warned not to. You know that. I'm like, I've just
That's
driven
a
here in
brief,
this.
yeah.
I'm like, I'm fucking loco, man. I'll do anything, like, you know. It's like the time I drove down to Bristol in a saloon car that I didn't realize I would be renting. I'm like, all right. And after I did that, I was like, I'm fucking in Britain. I'm gonna buy hard cider, man. I can do anything.
I'm invincible. The a man drives down the driveway to the gate, and we get the stabby piano thing. Gives Tom an envelope. Letters addressed to him. It's essentially saying, "Give up on your inquiries, which are completely useless, and consider these words a second warning. We hope for your sake that this will be sufficient."
That's too playful. That's written like a clue in a fucking escape room. That is too inviting to solve. That's like, ooh, curious, are we?
Oh.
Yes! Good. Why did you have such an interesting man give him the letter as well, you bastards?
There's a bit of a, as per my last email, passive aggressiveness to it, I think. There's a bit of that in there.
Please cease your inquiries immediately. No worries if not.
So he then presumably goes away, goes home, and he's at home with Nicole. She's doing homework with their daughter, but he's thinking about that dream that she talks about. He sees the Navy officer again in his head. He can't stop thinking about it.
This is a man who's not had a good enough Christmas in the last few years because, honestly, my world could be falling apart, and if it's Christmas, I'd be focused on that, like.
Yes, but he's not. And in that moment, he calls the grieving lady who desperately wanted to shag him, but the knockoff Tom Cruise answers, and so he doesn't.
You're a real jerk, you know that?
I'm obsessed with that real jerk thing. Just
Oh,
Tom
no,
Cruise,
it's great.
you're a real jerk.
Like, I don't think I was able to enjoy Tom Cruise until I fully came to terms with that clip. I feel there's a great video essay about that clip that has not yet been made.
I might be the one to make it. I think I need to real deep dive into that specific clip. He's now, once again, he's going everywhere he's been. He's going back to the sex worker, Domino, her name was, and her roommate answers the door. He's like, I've got... Sally. He's got like a little box of... Has he bought like pastries?
Good. It looked like the type of thing he should have brought back night one after being out till all hours.
Well,
the fact that he's about to give it to a prostitute he didn't have sex with. And now he's not even giving it to her, he's giving it to some roommate. Like, come on now.
So, again, we have the Tom Cruise magnetism because she is flirting with him like crazy.
Yeah, but as soon as the door opens, that's when it's like, oh shit, he's a hunk, in your pop, like.
Yeah. I assume she's of the same profession. I don't know. They get very touchy-feely pretty much instantly, but she, in the back of her mind, has got this thing that she needs to tell him.
Oh, hang on, yeah, before we can do anything, Siri, play my sex playlist. Dun, 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 dun. England.
There. The lady from the night before, Domino, she's HIV positive.
Ah.
Cool.
But it's this point where you get the first moment where you think, what's happening to all these people that he's met, who anyone who he wants to inquire with seems to be trying to disappear. And it's not that she's HIV positive, it's also that she's gotten a test, she's HIV positive, and she's moved away to Chicago, so you're probably never going to see her again, which he processes that quickly as being like, has she been killed? And what I love about this movie is that it's a very great exploration of paranoia, because paranoia, as it's often played out in, hey, even great movies, great thrillers. I love thrillers, but paranoia is always done as this like heartbeat, the cold sweat on the brow, the franticness.
Yeah.
This for like, the slow chill of paranoia. It's actually a lot more realistic, because I think paranoia isn't always in that adrenaline mode. It is very often this slow, meandering, left with your thoughts. And fucking hell, Tom, you've been with your thoughts for far too long now. It's Christmas. Have an eggnog.
I can see how people might have thought this was too slow paced.
Yeah, I mean, it is meandering, but it's kind of purposey, isn't it?
I really enjoyed enjoyed's the wrong word, but like I was absorbed in the feeling of paranoia and weirdness and like, this feels bad. There's a bit where he's just walking about and a scary but also kind of funny looking bald bloke is just following him around.
Scary but kind of bald man. No, he's very bald.
No, he's extremely bald. Yeah.
Mr. Kubrick, why are all the scary men in this movie who follow him all bald?
What's that meant to mean?
What's that meant to mean, huh?
Is he being pursued by, something that to some people indicates I'm overthinking it. I'm trying to be like, is the...
But it's a fun exercise in the sense that like it invites you to overthink it, but then it also has a kind of reassurance of like, not that it doesn't matter, but I don't think your full enjoyment seems to hinge on the explicit, like, oh no, this person is this. And I know there are some people who watch movies and that is not the case, where you want to know definitively what this means, what that person is, and to every movie there has to be an explanation as to every motive and every action or whatever. But I just like that it's like, it's freaky. Ah.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what I'm taking, yeah.
Never been stalked by a bald man, but I can't imagine it's nice.
Not that you're aware of.
Oh, maybe there's very good.
Yeah. So
maybe they were hiding behind a bag of onions like Greg Wallace and Eat Well for Less, and I didn't notice.
You wouldn't want him following you around now, would you? That's what I'm saying.
No. He just followed. The people he was following were middle-aged women of a certain age. All right, that's that. Oh, that makes it sound even worse, doesn't it? If only he just followed them. If only.
Yes.
You had to talk to them, didn't you, Greg? You fucking idiot. You know what my new pastime is, Sam? Because before the incident, followed Greg Wallace on Instagram, and I've forgotten to unfollow him. And now he's passive-aggressively uploading a lot of workout videos. I just write steroids, question mark on every one. Hasn't taken the bait yet, but...
Have you actually been doing this?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful stuff.
Honestly, I'm a little hurt no one's noticed.
Okay, so I think...
I'm the proverbial bald man under the bag of onions in Tesco Express. I'm unnoticed. I'm
going to go and give your comments a little heart on Instagram now.
Guys, if you just give it a thumbs up wherever you get your Greg Wallace content, that'd really help me. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Tom, after being followed by this bald guy, sits down, reads the paper, sees that Mandy, the girl who overdosed, has died.
I love that the headline on the paper is this giant fucking like New York Post tabloid headline where it's like, lucky to be alive.
Yeah.
It does feel like something that would be in your dreams if you had a paper in your dreams, if you could read it, but you can't because I saw the episode of Batman the Animated Series. Can't fool me, Roddy McDowell.
No.
You can't read in your dreams. Can't read in your dreams.
Can't read in your dreams.
That is my understanding, and even though I have many science degrees, I'm opting not to delve into that cache of knowledge. Again, it's like Season 2, episode whatever of the Batman animated series. Perchance to Dream, my favourite episode.
Can't read in your dreams.
Can't read in your dreams. I've also just ruined that episode for everyone, so light spoilers for a 30-year-old
Spoiler alert,
cartoon.
can't read in your dreams.
Spoiler alert, you can't read in your dreams. And spoiler alert for everyone who's told you they you can always look at them with the knowing nod of someone who knows that they're lying.
Yes. He's sort of piecing together that was maybe the mystery lady from the sex cult party. Ziegler, the man who organised the party at the very start and was with the overdosing woman, invites Tom over to his place.
These fucking houses they have, Jesus Christ. The size of them. They're bigger than New York.
There's a whole thing about like how this is a wealth thing. Like these are all...
Yes. And I will say, a wee visit from Joe the intern onto the Stanley Kubrick subreddit, because she's very interested in like theories about this movie and all that.
Sure.
And I was really excited to delve back in. And it is depressing the extent to which there are people who believe this movie was Stanley Kubrick telling us about Epstein and the elites, and then he got killed, and they sent him to the moon. It's just it's bananas, like.
Yes, but there is a.
But still, though, even having said that, let's entertain the possibility it could be real. Was Stanley Kubrick vaxxed? Interesting. 4 days or 9 days after the movie premiered. Interesting. I'm just asking questions that I have no basis to ask.
Kevin, he held a screening, people saw the movie, and then days later he's dead. Come on.
Yeah, he did a screening, and then the head of Warner Brothers was like, "Is that Jeffrey Epstein? You're going to want to take a look at this." Boing. All right, kill him and then later me. Yeah.
So Ziegler is there and he's saying, look, I know what happened last night. I was at the party. You shouldn't have been there. I'm pissed off at that Nick Nightingale.
In fairness, you'd say the same thing if you saw someone at the Riley's snooker bar in Lincoln and they didn't have the card. You know, I saw you at Elimination Chamber 2013 last night and you shouldn't have been there. You need to leave. I don't know what you think you saw in there.
He's been having Tom followed. He knows that Tom's been asking about Nick Nightingale. He's saying, look, Nick's fine. We just put him in a car and took him back to Seattle. He's not dead. It's fine.
He's having loads of sex with his hot wife. He's great.
Yeah.
Come on.
He's saying there was no second password. It was all kind of set up.
It was a ruse. The whole thing was just an orchestration, he said. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that makes everything about like questioning what's real and what's not in the movie so interesting, is that he's telling you that what you saw within the thing you saw was real, but the thing that you saw within the thing was fake, which is such like a magician's trick of like, no, this bit is real, but that other bit I'm telling you now is fake, which means it's definitely real, right?
Yeah. It's like watching Nathan Fielder as the rehearsal. It's hard to get a grasp on which bits are actually
What?
truth.
You mean like not able to in the UK legally?
Well, Your Honour, I went to the perfectly legal DVD shop and I watched Nathan Fielder's thing, and it's fine. Season one, sure. It was on Sky, I think. It's fine.
Unlike season two.
Yeah, the claim that everything that happened, well, some of what happened was staged, and
yes.
Yeah, Mandy was the woman at the party.
And this is an era before flash mobs were widespread, so the idea that such a large-scale social element could be organised is kind of contentious, I would say, for Tom. He's like, there's no way they'd all know. What, are you going to page them all at once? No, come on, it's 1999. They're not IMing yet.
Actually, that's a good point. Like, how would you know he was going to be... But then I think, was all of this staged to bring him... Oh, it's all weird. Was he supposed to be brought there to be freaked out?
But he does tell him, like, hey, you left your deposit card in your jacket with your name on it. You left the taxi driver outside. It was like, very easy to see how they could have smoked him out quite quickly. But, yeah, they simultaneously are giving him a threat that you really need to stop. But also... Oh, no, it was all kind of pretend and fake. Like, simultaneously, your life is and isn't in danger.
But it's really funny to think, like, while he was being led away to a different room and kind of was outside
guys,
for a bit.
He's coming in now, okay?
All get in a circle.
Get the camera ready.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't believe...
Ziegler's also arguing that with Mandy being dead, there was no foul play. She was an addict. She's just overdosed. It just... happened to be
all the time.
Happened to be the day after this party when she said the thing where she was that was fake, and then she in real life died.
Look, all you need to know, Tom, is that you ultimately just did a very bad job at going to a secret sex party. You flunked.
Yeah.
All right.
And again, like, there is a dreamlike quality to some of this, because he never really like leaves these places. He just sort of like, I know this is like how films work, and you don't always see everyone going out the door and going to the next thing. But even
still, he doesn't seem like he's traveling about. There's not much of a reality to his traveling. It's more like he shifts in and out of places or whatever it is.
Yeah,
but he does return into the wee hours and sees the mask on the bed, which makes him believe that perhaps now that the stalking or the clandestine organization have taken their step up and are now threatening his family. Or is it that Nicole has found it and is just being goofy? Or is it that she's found it and she knows all the secrets and he has to confront her now? It is not explained how the mask got there.
No, I'm like, is she sort of involved in it? Is she behind it? Is she to do with it? Is there any of that to it? I don't know.
They're going to have a big chat about it, but the cameras weren't there to follow them during it. And it's clearly like the next bit, when you see them in the morning after their big chat, there's no way you can convince me Stanley Kubrick didn't orchestrate them to have a mad big blow-up fight the night before for real, and then just film them the next morning, because they have the weariness, the worn-out eyes of people who've been crying and shouting all night. It is, and you don't see it, like, you just know they had a big chat. And they say that they've told each other everything.
Yes.
But it's up to you to determine what that means to each of them individually.
Okay. Definitely 1,000% need to watch this again, and will, because there's so much going on, I think, that I'm not fully grasping. But yeah, they in the morning he's told her everything. He's burst into tears. Next morning, they all look like they've been crying and shouting. But it's Christmas, so they've got to take their daughter Christmas shopping, which means, Kevin, that finally there is a Stanley Kubrick film with a Connects display in the background. Yes,
He was to films what Connects was to the entire child building market. You know, he disrupted, and he didn't mind letting people know about it. Also, the moon landing was done using Connects as well. Yeah.
Well, maybe the film's all about what connects us together, and and all that. But
the shared connections that we all have. All right, when they add two Connects together, is that called a connection? It better be.
I don't know.
The brand is dead, as far as I know. I'm not sure.
Yes,
but the interesting thing is that they are rattled, shell shocked, all that. They seem closer, but only from that sense of like kind of having survived this together. And she asks them kind of like, what is it that we need to do, or what is it that we need to do to move forward? How can we get out of this? And the one word reply is fuck, and that you're left with kind of this notion that what's going to save them out of this horny shoot they've worked themselves into is in fact just to have sex. That was the solution all along.
Well, listen, it's Nicole Kidman at the end. Like, there is something we need to do that's very important as soon as possible. It's like, what is it? Fuck. But I feel like as characters, it didn't seem like they weren't.
They weren't like kind of, didn't seem like they had a reduced sex drive or anything like that. But I guess for a couple like that, perhaps, who identify themselves as being like top tier, smoking hot, lively sex life, maybe having a solid 7 out of 10 is to them like the doldrums of banality or whatever. So yeah, it is. It's kind of like at the end of Full Metal Jacket, and you're like, oh, I guess just the only solution for dealing with violent people is a whole lot of violence, is it? And here it's like, well, horniness begats horniness, so that's how we're going to get out of this.
Keep on fucking? Question mark.
Keep on fucking. The
Wow.
70s we had keep on trucking, the 90s we had keep on fucking.
Keep on fucking. You know what? It was bewildering. It was strange. It was absorbing. It was unsexy. It had a lot of sex in it, a lot of nudity in it.
Was it upsetting in any, because, unsettling movies can... I know when we did Blue Velvet, for instance, and I would draw parallels between this and Blue Velvet all day and night, but that did enter, I think, into the uncomfortable for you, and obviously fucking heavy business. Maybe not quite as heavy themes in this one, but still fairly heavy. Did it get into the, less enjoyable as a result?
I think there was a definite unease and confusion. I kind of feel some of what this is about, but I feel like it goes deeper, but it means different things to different people, and there's the nature of whether much of this was real and what real even is, and if it's metaphorical and all that kind of stuff.
Did it, I don't want to say the word confuse, feels like, because obviously it's meant to be confusing, but did you feel lost? Did you feel disconnected from it, I guess, in that sense? Because there is so much coming at you and you're wanting to kind of think it and overthink it. Did you feel like it was going by you at that rate, I guess?
Kevin, the confusion connected me to it. That drew me in.
Unlike when I tried to do Connects that one time at my cousin's house, the confusion actually did help in this case.
Yeah, it was compelling, I would say. Again, and we have the thing where we talk about this is a long movie. This is like 2 hours 40.
Oh, I didn't. That didn't even factor into.
No. Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. Which in itself is kind of confusing. It's like it is literally a long movie,
and it's slow paced.
Yeah.
It goes da, 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 like a fucking alarm every 2 seconds.
Kevin,
it should feel slower than it is.
We see a character go to a bunch of fucking places, then go to a sex party, then go to those same places again, and then cry to his wife. And it's fascinating and brilliant, and I really liked it.
Did you see anything out of Tom Cruise that maybe you hadn't before? Because, I mean, Nicole Kidman, I think, is she's extremely versatile and whatnot, but Tom is probably more known for giving a more narrow field of performances. How'd you get on with him?
I think he works perfectly in this. Like,
It feels like it has to be him in a weird way, doesn't it?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. And
Yeah.
he's got the right combination, weirdly, of Hollywood A-lister, handsome, magnetic,
but a little weird.
but weird, but
It
like
needs
kind
to-
of
yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah.
There's an offness that he brings to it that really works. Like, I don't know who else could have been in that role.
Did it feel like it sat in comfortably alongside? Like, if you hadn't known that Stanley Kubrick directed this and being a fan of his work as you are now, do you think you would have kind of guessed it as one of his? Fingerprints are on there fairly severely, I would say.
Yes.
Now, the rating of this one is going to be interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Because it feels like you've started your stall of enjoying it quite a lot, but you've also, like, it feels like there's like Sam Chaplin DLC with this, where you're going to, like, your final appraisal of the movie feels like it's not possible until you have rewatched it in some respects.
No.
Which I totally understand. Like, there are many movies I watch where I also feel like, ooh, another viewing of that, it feels like the type of movie that it will definitely endear itself to me more that way. So I'm not sure where you're at with that.
I'm not sure either. But the fact that I want to watch it more, and it's not like it didn't tell. It's not like I'm saying I missed something or it was lacking something and I need to try and find it. It's like,
but you felt assured that your rewatching it would be an enjoyable experience.
Yeah. I know that in rewatching it, I would see more and get more out of it. That's such a positive feeling.
You don't have that typically with stuff on Swirl, though, because like I think we did like the hit list. We ran down all the we did the power rankings on Patreon of all the movies.
Yeah,
like I had rewatched so many of them when I did my one, and you I think one. Was that safe? You watched The Shining again?
I watched 2001 again as well.
That was it. Yeah.
So it is the.
So I mean, wow, how about that?
It feels like there's value in coming back to it, guaranteed with a Kubrick thing. I think
You'll get that time back in fucking film flavor is what's happening, Sam.
I suppose what I didn't get as much out of this was like a sense of everything going on in the background, and I mean the sex party is like obviously loaded with all sorts of symbolism and stuff, but like there's probably stuff in the streets and the costume shops and the jazz club that you could spend all day figuring out.
I mean, Joe was glued to this article she had found about how his Stanley Kubrick's wife is like a famous painter,
right?
Like, if you notice, like all the artwork in the background, a lot of that is from her as well. And there's all meanings in the artwork, and it's dense, generous film.
It gives you a world.
It's an opt-in world.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. No walls of text, please. I'll pick those notes up at my own pace. Thank you very much. Well, Sam, in that case, with your eyes wide open, having seen Eyes Wide Shut, what is your final star-wide rating, pending reappraisal, asterisk, for Stanley Kubrick's Stars in Your for Eyes Wide Shut?
It's a bit of a confusing one, but I think the fact that I know I'm going to come back and I know I want more of this is a big thing and bumps this up even more. So I'm giving Eyes Wide Shut 4.5 star wipes.
You heard it here first.